Yo, this is it. I'm Mr. Fade, and you're listening to Attack of the Beats on IllMuzik.com. 5 beats, 5 reviews, that's what I do. This is episode number 200. We finally made it. I mean, I thought 100 was crazy, but 200? Wow. This is over 10 years of this show. It's still going, and people still aren't listening. But anyway, I'm still going to give some advice. All right, so first up we got Armani with Blue World. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Armani with Blue World. Now, the thing is, first of all, you got vocals all over this thing. It's supposed to be just beats, man, just beats. So I'm going to review it anyway. I'll give you a pass this time, but don't do it again, all right? Just don't do it. But for this one, the thing is, too, is that it's like I mentioned in the past with some beats, is that you got to be careful as you get very, musical and whatnot, because this is like, it's not really hip hop, right? I mean, this is like R&B jazz or something, and all that stuff. So it's kind of, you got to watch that, and this is like the extreme of that, I would say, because there's plenty of times I heard beats where, you're making like a melody or something, someone's making a melody, and it's like, you just get carried away. Next thing you know, like you kind of forget, like, hey, I'm making some hip hop stuff here, or am I? And then you just drift off into something else, you know what I mean? So gotta be careful with that. But for this, just something quick. Listen, the snare's nice. I like it's very laid back drum track. The kick is very heavy though for that mix. And the vocals, even though you shouldn't have vocals for this, but still the vocals, they need to be clearer. They need to be more up front, you know what I mean? Unless you're trying to just hide them in the background, whatever. But I think it should be up front more and all that. Strings are very nice, although they could be sitting in the mix a little better, but still they do sound good. But still, I'd like for you to submit some actual hip hop tracks rather than some like, somber jazz R&B stuff. All right, so, but still, it's good, nice vibe, even though it's not really hip hop. All right, so next up we got Big Moon Music with View. All right, let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Big Moon Music with View, VIU. I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce that, but anyway, for this one, what stood out to me the most actually was the mix. Was that it was just a solid mix. It really was. The bass I thought could have been a little, louder, but really I think it was pretty good. I mean, considering you got the light snare and all that, so I don't think the bass could have come up. It could come up a little bit, but still, I think it's good, and it's a laid back track, but it's also a hype track. I think that high pitched synth is good, but on its own, it can be very annoying, I guess. So, I think if you had vocals on this, let's say you had like some like someone rapping on this, definitely like people wouldn't be paying attention to that synth, right? They'd just be, fist pumping all the way somewhere. I don't know. Do people still fist pump? I don't know. But people would be heading on to this, dancing to this, whatever. But but still, I think it's a little repetitive, a little bit of annoying on its own. But like I said, with vocals, it would muffle that, you wouldn't really hear it. But still, it's a good track. I like it. It's just that what stood out to me the most was the mix, and that's about it. Pretty good. I like it. So next up, we've got Farah Laversa with Trump Bow. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Farah Laversa with Trump Bow. Now, again, this is another one. I mean, you need to be submitting some hip-hop tracks. This is nowhere near hip-hop. I don't know why I even put this on the show. But I do screen these things, but I don't know. What was I thinking? Maybe I was drinking. I don't know. But, for this, I'll let this one slide, whatever, it's done. But, this is not like a hip-hop track, whatever. And the thing is that, all I'm going to mention is the horns, is that, unless you're trying to make it sound like this because you got the word Trump in there. But I think those horns, like, it's a thing. Like, when I'm trying to find horns, I usually just go for a sample because the VST horns, it depends. Unless you have something like, what's that one there? I'm trying to remember the name of that plugin where it's like, it's like a gig or something. It's like, or a couple of gigs. That's why it's like so authentic, the sound or whatever. But the other ones are like smaller in size, the plugins. You're going to end up with some cheesy horns and stuff. So that's what happens with stuff like this. So if you're going to use some horns, for this type of track, or for any track really, just make sure you get something that sounds much more authentic, much more lush, if you will, you know what I mean? So, because this one, whatever, but yeah, I don't know, man, you got to submit some hip hop, I don't know. All right. Okay. So next up we've got, Jafar 4000 with Sometimes in Your Sun. Let's check it out.
You ready?
All right. Okay, so that was Jafar 4000 with Sometimes in Your Sun. This one, though, man, it's very muddy. That's what I get from this, right? Because I think there's just too much noise going on. I mean, you've got the drums and that low end, that bass and stuff. When it first comes in, I was like, okay, we got something really gutter here. But then when you start bringing all the other stuff in, it's like everything's just clashing. So for me, what I would do is I would get rid of all that stuff on top. Just keep the drums and bass and then build off of that. But even then, just have something simple, very simple. Like you have a bit of those vocal snippets, maybe just have that throughout here and there, but keep just the drums and bass. Maybe add some variation, a bit of percussion or something like that. But other than that, just keep that because to me that sounded okay. It sounded good. It's just the rest of the stuff, it's just clashing, you know. And it could be something simple as just like maybe you just have the wrong note, obviously, or just like you're just the levels, if you will. Just like when you're mixing, maybe you just everything just slammed together. You know what I mean? So I've seen that happen many times. So maybe it's just about adjusting the levels. Maybe adding a bit of filters here and there just to kind of even things out. But other than that, I would just keep the drums and bass and just put something very simple on top of that. And that'll be, you know, a beat right there or just a starting point. You know what I mean? But yeah, just the drums and bass, because just that alone is gutter. The other stuff, it's just clashing too much. All right, so next up we got the last beat. It's Press Bobble Thump with Get Saved. Let's check it out. Right. Okay, so that was Press Bobble Thump with Get Saved. This, I mean, I like the controlled 808 that you have, because so often people have the 808 and it's just booming like crazy. Levels are all over the place. So in your case, you know, you got it under control. I like that, and then I really like the snare, how it smacks, and you got all that big reverb on it. It just fits very well. So then, as it's starting up, I was like, okay, this is going somewhere good, you know. But then when you start bringing in the other stuff, it sounds okay. It's just, well, I should say it sounds okay. It's like the music's okay. It's just that it's the way it's mixed. It's just that it's in the background. It's like it's in another room almost. So I don't know how you mix this one in, but the drums sound like more up front. You know what I mean? And then the rest of the stuff, the horns, and then later on the piano, that's too much like muffled in the background. It's odd. Like and it's hard for me to really judge for something like that, because you know, I don't know what you're using, what DAW you're using, what the sound source is, whatever. So it could be you added an effect. I don't know, but whatever it is, I think it just needs to be adjusted, because I can't really hear it that well, since it's not blending in that well with the drums and all that stuff and the bass. So or the 808, I should say. So that's the only thing that needs to be adjusted, is that stuff, because it's just not sitting well in the mix. So that's why. But still, it'd be nice to hear it when it's adjusted, but still for what you have. I like the drums, they're very good. It's just the other stuff, it's gotta be fixed. All right, that's it for me. I'm Mr. Fate. This is Attacking the Beats. Keep sending your beats in. I'll keep reviewing them. And my favorite beat is... The winner is... Drum roll, please. Big Moon Music with View. Let's check it out.